This prison opened in 1866 and closed in 1995. During that 129 years, there's been a total of 998 documented deaths here. We did do executions here, 94 altogether. 85 died by hanging, and 9 died in Old Sparky the electric chair, which you'll see at the end of your tour. On January 1st, 1986, that the last riot broke out. Inmates took control of the prison for 52 hours. They held 16 hostages. 15 were correctional officers and 1 was a food service worker. These hostages was beaten, blindfolded, they had to crawl everywhere they needed to go. And during that riot, 3 inmates was brutally murdered. They think the main reason for that riot was to eliminate these inmates because they was known as snitches in the penitentiary. In front of there used to be a greenhouse, and that's where the last escape took place. 3 inmates went under the wall and out the other side. When they had left, they made like a manhole cover out of wood and covered up the hole, and a little boy walking home from school noticed it because it slipped, and he alerted authorities, and they were all caught within a month.
Yeah, I would have punched him in the face.
We had one inmate that came in here in 1932 by the name of Freeman Collins. He was released in 1972. Now you can imagine how much that world changed from 32 to 72. Well, he was scared to death. So he killed his parole officer, and he came back, and he was still here when they closed in '95. He spent over 60 years behind these walls. Now, they think the first few hangings might have taken place in here. You'll notice there's a trap in the floor. Now, when they had these hangings, it was open to the public. People would come for miles just to watch a hanging. They'd bring their
Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, bring their kids, bring their picnic baskets, and go watch a hanging. And that was clear up till 1931 when they hung a man by the name of Frank Heyer. Frank was a large man, and when they hung him, he decapitated.
Large man, isn't he?
Somebody call for a large man?
Yes. But anyway, after that incident, it was closed to the public. You had to have an invitation to come, which was usually the media and the family members. But we had another hanging here in 1939 that made Time magazine. A man by the name of Orville Atkins. Just as he's getting ready to put the noose around his neck, the trap opened and he fell head first into the cement below. Didn't kill him, but it severely injured him.
Really ticked him off.
Yeah. So they,
About irony.
Yeah.
so they put him on a stretcher, carried him back up, and hung him.
Wow.
Yeah.
America. That's American job.
The area that you're standing in right now, there used to be another building here. It was the death house.
Yes.
After the death penalty was abolished in '65, the inmates got a little petition together. They wanted no reminder of that death house, so it was tore down. But this is another area that always picks up a lot of activity. Okay, you're now in North Hall. This was maximum security. The inmates called this the Alamo. They said you had to fight to survive in here. No inmates started in this part of the prison. This is for the inmates that couldn't behave after they were here. They had to spend 22 hours a day in these cells. They were fed through the bean hole at the bottom.
The bean hole?
That's what it's called.
We got to stop right now. The bean hole.
That's what they called it.
Good thing they didn't have corn regularly.
Yeah.
And they were allowed out for rec time and showers, and the rest of the time they spent inside these cells.
Wait a minute, so all they did was lay around in these cells all day?
22 hours a day.
That's awesome. How cool is that?
They have TVs.
Yeah, they did. They were allowed up to 13-inch TVs.
Ha! 13 inches.
13 inches.
You'll never see 13 inches.
That's bigger than I got.
Okay?
And I'm a free man.
Now, the fencing you see on the doors was to help protect the officers that worked down here. These inmates had nothing to lose. The death penalty had been abolished. They're in a cell 22 hours a day. They would throw feces, urine, anything they could back at these officers.
Again, I want to voice, we talked this at the beginning of the course. I don't see anything wrong with throwing feces.
I really don't either.
No, there's nothing wrong with that.
It's natural. I mean,
Now, the first 4 cells that you walked by when you came in, that's where the 4 most violent inmates was housed. The one on the very end, it says Aryan Brotherhood in it. We had an inmate by the name of Red Snyder that lived in there. Red was known as the most violent inmate here. He came here for murdering his parents, cutting up their bodies and hiding them under the bed. While he was in here, he murdered again. When they were letting him out for his rec time, they always let him out with the man 2 doors down from him, Rusty Lassiter, because they always got along. Well, they'd had a falling out earlier that day. And when they opened the 2 men's cells, Rusty made a U-turn back and stabbed Red 37 times in front of his cell.
37, what, he get tired? Why 37 times?
That's when they finally got to him to stop
Okay.
it.
Like
So
37
his
is a
cell
lucky
is
number.
probably the most active cell we have in this penitentiary.
And that's
They
what, number
always,
16 or
it's on the very end. It says Aryan Brotherhood on it. As you're walking by these cells and notice how small they are, at one time this prison was so overpopulated, we had 3 men in every cell. There was bunk beds, and one of them slept on the floor.
This is what we're going to do. We got a little game we're going to try right now. 5x7 cell. We're going to see how many people we can fit in. So start, Stacy, you first. Everybody start filling in. Let's see how many people we can get. We might be able to get them all. I'm not sure. Keep coming. Everybody's got to go. Everybody's got to go. We get in. I don't want to go. Is it safe to stand on things in there? Lori said we were going to find out. That's the attitude to have. All right, I think I'm going to be the last one in. We have made it. I think we've got 20 people in a 5x7 cell. Vance is back there. Yes, it's official. Is everybody in? Is there? Zippy? Zippy's here. Zippy.
Oh, I love this game.
Come on, Zippy. Zippy! Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. And wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Wait a minute. Hey, yeah.
You're so sweaty. That's not sweat.
It's not sweat, it's pee. You didn't tell me that we were going to lock this thing. Where's the TV?
Do these toilets still work?
Yeah, I need to poop.
I just want to see how many comments everybody's going to say. So, Lori, how long can we stay in here?
You can stay there all night if you'd like.
Oh, there's no way to describe the smoke coming off your body right now. What is that? No! Sex fan.
Well played, sir.
It
Well
works
played.
60% of the time?
Yeah, I'm trying. All right, there it goes. Wow, it was amazingly hot in there.
It did smell in there.
An inmate by the name of Danny Lehman lived in there. He was known as being the most powerful inmate in this penitentiary. He was leader of the Avengers, and he ordered other inmates murdered. When he was going out for his rec time, he stepped out of his cell and was stabbed through the eye, piercing his brain. Okay, you're standing in front of the wheel. This was the main entrance to the penitentiary. This was installed in 1899. There was a guard that was stationed behind the wheel, and he would turn that wheel whatever direction you needed to go. One side was where the offices was, on the other side was the old visitation, and up the steps will take you to the warden's living quarters. It was his job to make sure nobody got to the warden and his family. Now, if any of you ever saw Fool's Parade with Jimmy Stewart, it starts out with him leaving through this wheel. It's based on one of our inmates that was incarcerated here. We had another movie, Night of the Hunter, 1955 movie, that's based on one of the inmates also. There's a story about him at the end of your tour of the museum.
Nothing here is based on Knight Rider, like the 1981 TV show.
Yeah.
What about the Terminator? Does that have anything to do here?
I know one you might be familiar with.
What's that?
Scooby-Doo 2, part of it was filmed here.
Scooby-Doo 2?
The trailer. Mm-hmm.
Scooby-Doo 2?
Scooby was here.
Really?
Yes. The next place I'm going to take you to is under the admin building to the hole. There was an inmate that lived down there by the name of R.D. Wall. He took care of the boilers down there. That was his assigned job. He was also the warden's favorite because he was the #1 snitch of the penitentiary. The other inmates hated him. One day a bunch of them went down there and slaughtered R.D. Decapitated him, cut off his fingers. It's a place that always picks up a lot of activity. It's also full of bats. So let's go. It was back in this corner where R.D. was slaughtered as he sat on a toilet.
Oh. Just like you're making this up.
No, honestly.
We'll be back. We'll play down here in a little bit.